folks, and welcome to the Horror Corner. Good evening, folks, and welcome to the Horror Corner. I'm your host, Sean Patrick Erschen. This week we are doing another movie review. This is Carnival of Souls. Released in 1962, directed by Herk Harvey, starring Candace Hilligoss, Francis Feist, Sidney Berger, and the director himself, Herk Harvey, has a role in it. He plays the ghoulish figure, the man, who kind of stalks the character of Mary throughout the film. By the way, this is the Criterion Collection Blu-ray. Beautiful transfer of the film, you know. I've seen so many terrible transfers of the film on these 50-pack release DVDs, you know. These cheap movie collections. Terrible transfers, but the Criterion Collection is the way to go when you want to watch this film, trust me. So the film was made on a budget of only $33,000. That's it. So yes, very low budget film. Kind of an old drive-in, you know, B-movie film, you know. Which has become a cult classic over the years. So we begin the film with the character of Mary Henry, played by Candace Hilligoss in the film. And the film just kind of really jumps into the scene. It's kind of jarring, you know, how it just jumps right into the opening scene. But Mary is in this car with her girlfriends, and they're talking to these guys in the next car over to them in the road. And they're just kind of these punks, these hooligans, you know. And they decide to have a little race, a little drag race down the road, you know. And things get out of hand pretty quickly, and they actually try and run them off the road, which is kind of crazy, but thought it started out as something a little bit of friendly competition, but it gets horrific, you know, once they get to the bridge, and then they do run them right off the bridge. The car tumbles off the bridge and down into the lake, and they're all presumed dead. So the next scene we see the police looking for the car, you know, and you see the dude, the punk from the other car, saying stuff like, you know, they were just driving a little too fast, trying to get around us, and they lost control of the car. Yeah, right, you murdered them, dude. But yeah, and then they look down at the riverbank, and we see a woman coming out of the lake, and she's muddy and disheveled and distraught and just really shaken up, and it's the character of Mary Henry. So apparently she is the sole survivor of the accident. So what happens in the film is, you know, she tries to move on with her life, and she gets a job in Salt Lake City as the church organist. Now, she isn't particularly religious or anything. She just, you know, it's a job, you know, makes some good money. And, you know, she figures moving far away to Salt Lake City, it's a way to kind of start a new life and move on and maybe meet new people. Just a chance to regroup and get over her trauma, hopefully. And along the way, you know, on this long ride to Salt Lake City, she sees this beautiful old abandoned pavilion. And she's very captivated by it, very enthralled by it, and, you know, it's very mysterious and foreboding. It just has this presence about it that she's just, you know, enamored with. And also along the way, she starts seeing these visions of this ghoulish figure, this with the pasty white skin and the dark eyes, you know, who's kind of stalking her throughout the film, you know, just this weird dude that, you know, she sees throughout the film, and she's haunted by him, you know. And we don't know what the deal is with this guy. Is he really there, or is she just seeing this in her head? Is she just having nightmares? Um, but yeah, so she moves to this house, and she rents a room in the house with this nice old lady. Really nice old house. And she runs into the only other tenant in the building, which is this dude named John, and he's very, kind of this old country bumpkin, and he tries to, he almost like harasses the woman, constantly trying to, make advances towards her, and you don't really know if she's interested at all, or if she's just playing hard to get, or she's very hard to read, this woman. She's very kind of mysterious, and that kind of was what makes her a very interesting character. She's very, very well portrayed by Candace Hilligoss. We don't really know anything about this woman. We don't know anything about her past, or anything about her life, or who she is. Just the fact that she's this woman who had this accident, and she survived somehow, and she's traumatized, and she's horrified, and she's just haunted by these weird visions, and that's all we know about her. So she doesn't really have a whole lot of personality. She's not very good at dealing with people. She's not a very good conversationalist. She's not very sociable. She's just a little bit of a strange bird, a little bit cold, and we don't know what to think about her. So all we know is that she's very captivated by that pavilion. But she goes to the church and meets with the minister, and she gives the organ a little trial period, and everyone's like, wow, she's a really good player, and everyone's excited to have her on board, and wow, we've got this really great organ player. The church is going to sound so great when we have the mass, And things seem to be moving a little bit on the up and up. She goes out shopping, and what happens is this weird, cool visual effect by the director that I really enjoyed. The screen gets all watery and wobbly, and when that happens, she kind of goes into this trance. And then when she's walking around and trying to talk to the people, no one sees her, no one hears her, anything she's saying. So it's very Twilight Zone-ish, and this film would have made a great episode of Twilight Zone back in the day, Maybe one of those hour-long episodes from season 4, that they tried out. I think this would have been perfect for that. The film is only 78 minutes long, too. That's another thing. But I love the direction, and that's what makes this film great. It's very eerie. It's got such a great haunting atmosphere. Great. I love the score to that organ, haunting score, that church organ. Which, she's a church organist, and then throughout the film you hear that eerie, haunting church music. It's very interesting and very captivating. And I love the direction. It's visually stunning in a way, and they only had a budget of $33,000, so they didn't have any special effects per se, but that nice little effect that he does with the camera, I really like that. I feel like it really stands out. And the film is just beautifully shot. The lighting, is just pitch perfect. And that, to me, is what stands out about the film, the atmosphere. So she kind of decides, to face her fears a little bit. So first she tries to get the minister to take her to that old pavilion where it used to be a bathhouse, it used to be a dance hall, and it used to be a carnival, hence the name Carnival of Souls. But don't expect this to be some kind of carnival horror film where you see like these circus sideshow freaks or anything like that. This film is not like that at all. So the minister, when they get there, is just like, he just shows it to her, and once again, she wants to go in there, she wants to get in there and scope the place out, and he's like, no, that's illegal, you can't go in there, it's abandoned, it's unsafe. So they head out, and once again, she goes back to the house, and the guy John is trying to get her to go out with him, And she does finally agree to go out with the guy, surprisingly. So they go on a date to this nightclub, this bar, and everyone's dancing, and she's not talking at all because she, like I said, she has very little personality, and she's like, "What's the matter with you? You don't dance, you don't drink, you don't do anything, you don't talk, But she's like, "Well, I do want to be with you, I want to be with you," but you know that she's just needs someone to be with her. She doesn't want to be alone because she's very scared. She's scared of these visions she's been seeing of the ghoul guy, So I don't think she has any interest in the guy, like, sexually, or wants to be in a romantic relationship or anything. She just wants to be with someone so she's not alone and horrified and scared, And, he kind of starts losing it, as she starts to unravel throughout the film, as she keeps seeing these visions of these ghoulish people. And she decides to go by herself to the old pavilion, the old carnival, and she starts seeing more of these ghouls, these people. We don't know if they're zombies, we don't know if they're dead people or what. My guess is they're probably people that used to work at the carnival, and now they're just ghosts, And also, we don't know if this is all in her mind or if they're really there or what's going on. We don't even know if she actually is alive. Did she actually survive the accident? Is any of this real? And that's what becomes so interesting about the film, is we don't know if any of this is real. You don't know if it's in her head, if she even exists, if she's alive, or did she survive the accident. So yeah, it's very interesting. So she sees them all dancing around because the place used to be an old dance hall, and then they all start chasing her, trying to get her to, trying to get her to join them, be dead with them. Or what, they start chasing her around, she runs screaming, And it all ends up in this captivating finale at the pavilion at the carnival, and it's just got a great twist ending. It's just a lot of fun, very interesting film, very kind of an art house indie almost from back in the 60s, when they did have a lot of creative type of films back then, This isn't one of them old 60s monster movies with zombies running around, or giant ants or tarantulas or anything like that. It's just kind of a quirky little indie art house film, and I feel like you don't even have to be a horror fan to appreciate this film. I think if you appreciate classic film, if you appreciate the old black and white classics, I think you could really enjoy this film. You don't even have to be a horror fan. But if you are a horror fan, I think you could enjoy this as well, just for the creepy atmosphere. If you like atmosphere in your horror, then this is the film for you, because this film just oozes creepy atmosphere. Very much so, and I think that's one of the best things about it that I can say, That and the direction of Herk Harvey is the reason to watch this film. It's just got such a creepy quality to it, And it's just beautifully shot by the director, and it's got some nice cool little effects here and there. They make such a great use of the minuscule budget. And yeah, they use the money wisely, and so yeah, I highly recommend Carnival of Souls from 1962, directed by Herk Harvey. I give it 2 devil horns way up. And thank you for joining me, Sean Patrick Erschen, in the Horror Corner. Tune in and stay scared. Good evening, folks, and we got some brand new merchandise for you over at www.thehorrorkona.com, and that's CONA.com. Representing the Horror Corner. Great new design. We got the Morbid Hour live stream there, you got the Horror Hangout live stream there, and you got my nemesis, the Dark Fate. So grab your t-shirt over at www.thehorrorkona.com. And we also got this beautiful new mug. Look at that. Very, very cool. Thought that came out really nice. So grab your merchandise today over at www.thehorrorkona.com.